Hello, everyone. My name is Emanuel. I'm the founder of the Hybrid Method Academy. And today we're going to talk with Frank, one of the overachievers in the program. Hey, Frank, tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from? What kind of busy professional are you? And what do you do for work?
Sure. So I'm from New York. I grew up there, and when I went to school in Pennsylvania. When I graduated, I came out here to Utah, and I've been in Utah for the last 4 years. I Not too long ago I got engaged, and I'm
Congratulations.
a thank you, and I'm a sales professional. So I've worked at two companies since moving out here, both in the tech kind of software space, and that's what brought me out here, and that's what I'm doing now.
Awesome. Awesome. So, how did we meet? Why did you join the Hybrid Method community and the Hybrid Method program?
Yeah, so I was actually I was pretty grateful, I think, to find you just because I started, like, this is all just, of course, by chance. We started living at Hardware Apartments, and you have a connection to Hardware Apartments. You started providing these Tuesday trainings, and that's when I got to meet you and really get to understand, like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's really pushing us, and I looked forward to having those Tuesday trainings back when you were doing those before Heather took over. So it was that's how we met. And I mean, the reason why I joined was because, I wanted to prove to myself that I could reach challenging goals, right? That I could do hard things, and
Yeah.
kind of where I was at in my career, it just made a whole lot of sense for me to try and explore challenging goals outside of just the workplace and see, like, what I could prove to myself. That was a pretty big priority for me, was just trying to kind of show myself, like, oh wow, I can do this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good, man. Yeah, I remember you talking about that in the beginning, and I was just inspired to hear your intention. And I really knew right off the bat that you're gonna be a goal crusher. So, where were you before, physically and mentally? Before you met me, before you joined the program?
Sure. So I didn't have a whole lot of confidence. I'm at like, kind of like what I just said. I'm at a stage in my life where my career is one of the most important things that I'm focused on, outside of making my fiance happy. So, my lack of confidence was impacting my work performance, and which made me less confident, and which then impacted my work, right? And then so on and so forth. We spend so much time at work, and again, where I'm at, I'm 25 years old. This is really one of the biggest things that I'm focused on, is just setting myself up for a good career so that I can be financially stable and financially provide for a family down the road. And if you're spending so much time at work, if you're not enjoying what you're doing because you don't have the confidence, if you doubt yourself, it's just not a really good spot to be. So that's why I was looking for ways out. This is, of course, all mentally. So I mean, like, that's what attracted me to this program, was, okay, I know I can build that mental confidence and that mental strength for myself. um,
Awesome.
Physically. So that's kind of like mentally and emotionally, right?
Yeah.
But physically, and I mean, you and I have talked about this, but, like, regarding my weight, um, I would never consider myself. I never considered myself really overweight or anything like that. But I definitely didn't have the confidence. I didn't feel comfortable taking off my shirt for a really long period of time. I was pretty self conscious about that. We're really grateful to have a pool on our roof, right? So I mean, like, if I went up to the pool, like, I didn't want to have my shirt off, or at least be visible with my shirt off. Like, if I would get into the pool right away, right, if I had my shirt off. So I mean, it was just kind of, I don't know. I was kind of just reacting to what the times that or like, just the environment that I was in, and I just wanted to. That was also, of course, another driving uh, factor for why I wanted to make that change.
Hmm. What was it that was holding you back from, like, taking your shirt off? What was the main barrier, physically speaking?
Well, I guess it was just how I looked, right? I mean, I wasn't very happy with how I looked, and I would try to I would try to go to the gym for a little while. I would try to eat well for a little while, but I wouldn't see results right away, or I probably wasn't doing the right things, so I didn't see those results soon enough. So you kind of lost that motivation, and then I just kind of felt stuck, right? Um, I was that I was that same weight for a while, and honestly, for the last couple of years, I was slowly, very slowly, but I was gradually gaining weight. So I
Hmm.
knew that was not then it was body fat that I was adding on. So I knew it wasn't the right trend. It wasn't like I was putting on muscle or anything like that. So
Gotcha.
yeah, it was, I knew that it was just something that like I wanted to figure it out, but I didn't know how. And in a way, I kind of felt stuck with that.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, not awesome, but thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. You were at, and you were like dealing with these things, and but you remember. So we connected. We talked to each other, and you started sharing with me all the struggles, all the barriers, all the things that you've tried in the past, and yet you've had some objections. Do you remember what objections you had before we started working together?
Well, I have a terrible memory, but honestly, the one that I can remember, and I feel like at least in my mind was the biggest objection. It honestly for me, it really came down to cost. I mean, that's going to be
Okay.
a real factor for a lot of people. It's just kind of the reality of things. At the same time, I knew it was going to be a lot of work, right? And I was ready for that. I was ready to take that on. I was ready to make a change for myself. And at the same time, I just wanted to be sure that for myself, that financially speaking, I was able to comfortably afford something like that. I mean, that
Gotcha.
with any good or service, right? I mean, I think that's always going to come up for some people. And talking to you, I saw the value, and I saw what I could be doing for myself. And I know this is something that Russ has said in the past in the program, but it's, you're investing in yourself, right? um, you kind of have to look at it like that, is that this is an investment you're making in yourself to change yourself forever. So once you adapt that mindset, it's pretty easy to then make that connection and say, okay, yeah, I can invest that kind of money in myself.
Got it. Yeah, I was going to ask you like how those objections that you had were handled, and what was the mindset shift that you had after you joined the program.
Sure. Yeah. So I might have already kind of answered that question, but it's that mindset shift is just understanding that I'm investing in myself and I'm working on myself. It's not like you're not just spending money to get a new phone or anything like that. That doesn't really do anything for you, right? It might bring you a little bit more happiness for like a month or two. But this is something that's going to change you, right? And for the better, like not just mentally, emotionally, but physically, like you're going to live longer, right? I mean, like all of these benefits that occur from joining this program. um, and of course, I was just unfortunate that you were working with me to create kind of a custom program that fit my needs, that fit my needs, and also ultimately fit my budget. So that was kind of like what helped me kind of make that final decision and go forward with it. And obviously, I'm really happy that I did.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. So, what were the results that you got from the program physically and mentally?
So of course I'm still going. I'm on the tail end of the program. I'm still going through it, but I mean, where I came from. So I started out. So on the physical side, I started out probably over, because I know we didn't start measuring my body fat right away. So I would probably guess that it was even higher than this. But when we started measuring it, it was 17% body fat, and now I mean, we haven't had the opportunity because of the coronavirus to measure it recently, but it's probably somewhere between 8 and 10%, right? Somewhere around there. So I mean, like bringing it down from 17 down to just like body fat. I mean, like I never thought I'd be able to do that on my own. And you know, I have your guidance, but the fact is, like, I did that, right? I mean, like that's like I was the one that, and I think that's important for people to recognize. Yeah, because I mean, look, I mean, Emmanuel can throw all of the best practices at you. He can tell you what to do, but if you're not going to take action, you're not going to see any results.
Exactly.
So that was one thing that I saw. I have a whole lot more confidence in who I am and what I do. So, you know, if I look at myself in the mirror, I have that confidence just in myself that has had impacts on my career, you know, like on how I perform outside of work. You know, I would say that, yeah, I'm overall just a higher quality of life from joining this program. So outside of body fat also, you know, I've put on a lot of muscle mass too. So, you know, it's just kind of that physique that I've been looking for. You know, I'm getting closer and closer to that.
I love it. Yeah. And I believe you're ready to get married, because that was the initial goal that you had before we got you in the program. You said, hey, I want to get ready for my wedding. And now, because of the coronavirus, your wedding got postponed, which means you have a huge opportunity to really take it to the next level, like put on more muscle mass and look huge, bulk.
Yep.
Awesome. So what do you think differentiates the Hybrid Method Academy from anything else, in your opinion?
Sure. So, you know, it's not like and you kind of alluded to this, it's not like I've had any personal experience being a part of a whole lot of programs. You know, I've kind of relied on just those do-it-yourself methods. So one thing that's
you work
really
with personal trainers, right? You work with personal trainers.
That's exactly.
You did classes.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I forgot about that. I did have a personal trainer for a few months. So I'm sorry. Yeah, I did have that experience as well. So all of those experiences kind of thrown together, I mean, like what really differentiates the Hybrid Academy is that the Hybrid Method Academy is that, you know, it's really your passion. It's your passion for helping others, and specifically helping us that are members. You know, you truly care about all the members in the program and seeing them improve, right? You know, you have those check-ins with me. You know, you're always checking in with me. You check in with all the other members. You provide those mindset sessions on Mondays. I mean, it's just the level of detail and like I would say just care in what you do is really what kind of separates this program from everything else. And on top of that, I think what really attracted me to the program was just your expertise. So I can come to you, and you know, I can trust your answer and say like, hey, I'm thinking of these two kinds of supplements, which one should I take? And then you ask me, it's like, well, what are you trying to accomplish, right? So you just help me think through what I'm trying to do, and you have those recommendations, and you know what works, not just from nutrition and supplements, but you know, form and how to perform exercises. A lot more confidence, you know, that I have in myself just from kind of learning from you. And it's like, it's kind of funny. Now I'm in a position where, well, eventually, hopefully when we can go back to the gym, but when I see people at the gym, I can tell when they don't have good form. And it's like, oh man, I'm sure that used to be me. Right. So there's been just so many benefits and impacts, but I mean, like I said, yeah, I mean, like for this program specifically, just like how much like you truly care about us and how much you want us to succeed. Like you tell us that all the time, but you show it as well.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes, that's the number one reason I wake up every morning, basically. Yeah, to take care of my hybrids and make sure they're being fully served and supported. Yeah. And they become successful, because your success is my success. So that's what I stand for. what would you recommend to somebody that wants to get in great shape, both physically and mentally, and they're trying to figure it out on their own?
Well, first of all, go to Emanuel, right? But if we're taking that example, let's say if they're just bent on doing it on their own, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe they don't have the resources to join a program or whatever. And I've thought about this, and I think what it really comes down to, right? If for some reason they cannot join an awesome, excellent program like the Hybrid Method Academy, and they need to do this on their own, I think what's most important for them is that they join some kind of community of like-minded people, which that's what you've set up. Now, of course, there's going to be a whole lot, like, I mean, like, yeah, you have to be consistent. You have to do X, Y, and Z. But I think with what a community is going to do for somebody is that there's strength in numbers. And if there's a community of like-minded people that want to get better, there's just greater chances that somebody's going to come out with great ideas and say, well, hey, I actually did this type of workout today, and I felt really great afterwards. Or I've been eating this way for a month, and it's really given me these results. It's hard to, honestly, it really is hard to just do this on your own without any kind of help. I mean, even if it's just a Facebook group, joining something, you don't have to physically be with other people, but
Yeah.
you got to seek out information. You have to, because you're not going to know all these things on your own. We're not raised as a society to know all these different things necessarily.
I love that.
So you just need to find that information and the correct information. That's what it comes down to.
Awesome. Yes, yes, yes. So try to stick to a community. Try to find a group of people who are looking to accomplish similar goals that you have. Basically. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. In your opinion, what is required to be successful in health and fitness and sustain the success long term?
So I alluded to this already, but consistency, right? And just the recognition that it's never going to be over. Like you won't, and this is kind of something that I think I just realized recently. But you're not going to arrive at a destination when it comes to your health and fitness, or at least you shouldn't. Like you don't just, it's impossible. Like you don't just, all right, perfect, I got to 200 pounds, I'm 9% body fat. Like if you stop doing what you did to get to that point, you're going to lose that. It's kind of a blessing and a curse. Like when it comes to your health and fitness, like you need to sustain what you're doing. You just have to recognize that it's never going to stop, which isn't a bad thing. Like your health and fitness will constantly require your attention, and it's up to you to ensure that it gets that attention. That's why before joining this program, I mean, I would do something for maybe a couple of months, a few weeks at a time, and then I would stop. It's the inconsistency that really doesn't provide any results. And I think for a lot of people that's demotivating. Like that's just it. They don't feel good about themselves because they feel like they're doing the work, but honestly, it's just a matter of just doing the same thing every day. And that's, you talked about this before, but you almost have to get bored with it. Right? If you're getting bored with your daily routine, as long as it's a good routine, you're doing the right things.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, because you mentioned that you used some apps before, right? Some
Yep.
training apps and those kind of thing. So how would you say, like, would you be able, by following those apps, to sustain your habits, to like show up consistently every day and do it for 10, 20, 30 years?
I think there's going to be a very small percentage of people that can probably do that. For the grand majority, That's very, very hard to do, because you're kind of just you're doing that on your own, right? And if you're part of a community, there's that accountability that we all
Mhm.
hold ourselves to. Like Emmanuel holds me accountable all the time. Like you always hold me accountable. Other members hold each other accountable. So I would say personally for myself, once I'm done with this program, going back to an app like that might work because I've already built the habit behind what I
Mhm.
do. It's just a matter of having a location to just log my workouts and log what I eat. So as long as I can log that information somewhere. But if someone's starting out and they go to an app and the app promises them like results, I mean, it's maybe 1% of the population can do that, but I just feel like that just doesn't work for most people. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure why. I'm not sure what the reason is, but I feel like that's just the fact of life.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of factors that are missing. It's the mindset training,
Yeah.
it's the accountability thing, it's the community, it's that human interaction that we miss all the time, and we're like thirsty about it. We
Yeah.
really want that. So now the last question that I have for you is, who would you recommend this program to and why?
Well, I mean, if I could, I'd recommend it to everybody, but I mean, that doesn't sound, that may not necessarily be realistic. I think the type of person that's, because you're a professional as well, right? And you've told me about like, it has to be a good fit mutually. You have to find the right people. They have to find the right program. And I think the right people for this program is that it's going to be people who want to take action, but maybe don't know how. Um, I feel like that's how I would describe myself, is that I was ready to take action, but I didn't have the expertise. I didn't know what the methodology would be. I certainly didn't know what to eat. And sure, I could have probably invested a lot of time and my own effort into just researching all of that and becoming my own expert. But outside of what I was doing, or what I was doing all the time, I didn't really have the time to do those things. And whether or not I actually would have stuck to it, right? And that's a whole other thing. So really, to answer the question, it's people that, they have this desire to take action. So they probably show this in other areas of their life, right? They're taking action in their family life. They're taking action with their career. They're taking action with other aspects of themselves, but maybe when it comes to just their health and fitness, they want to, but they don't know how. And I think that's where your guidance can really help them.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing all these thoughts with me. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Moreno, the overachiever.